Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Sorry about the little delay there. I was having a problem with my lights, and in fact I'm still having a problem. Lights, they don't want to stay where I want them, and I'm mad at them. I don't like them existing right now. Alright. Hey everyone, welcome. Yeah, so how was everyone's week? Mine was shit, I'm not gonna lie. I had the vacation from hell, it felt like. Everything that could have possibly gone wrong that week seemed to have gone wrong. I can give a full rundown of everything, but I don't know if anyone cares to listen or if anyone's actually here to listen. But since I have about 8 minutes or so, I think, until my food is here, because oh my god, I'm hungry. Although now it says 45 minutes. 8:45. I'm so hungry. Oh my god, I'm so hungry. It's a problem. Please tell me you're actually gonna pick up the food. Don't just leave me hanging here, my man. Don't leave me hanging. Man, I'm having difficulty with the... There we go. You are not at KFC. Alright, whatever. Anyway. So yeah, no, I had a pretty shitty vacation, I'm not gonna lie. We have been going to the same exact places out in Cape Cod since 1964. This was literally our 60th year going. My mother grew up going there, I grew up going there, and we're talking about the same places. We have now gone through 3 owner-managers, or whatever you want to call it. I know that a different family owned it in the 60s, and in the 70s, one family that we... there was this one family that kind of took it over, a husband and wife couple, and they were the ones that ran it for most of my life so far. In 2017, I'm not entirely sure exactly what happened with the family. There was some kind of upheaval drama thing, and I don't think it changed hands. I don't know if the ownership changed at all, but basically the husband and wife couple that had been running it were no longer running it. The wife's brother was now taking over, and either he had always owned it or owned a large part of it. I don't know. But he took it over and gave over operations to his daughter, and his daughter has been kind of hard for us to deal with for quite some time. It's been annoying, to say the least. And so she has, over the last couple of years, raised the rates of this place to be roughly equivalent to everything else around it. You know, we keep going to this place for a couple of different reasons. One, obviously, we've been going there for 60 years. There's a lot of memories that are there. Another, though, is that it was always the cheapest place that was still right on the beach, and its location was just perfect. It's right on the beach, right on Cape Cod Bay, minutes from Provincetown. Like, you literally walk out of the cottage door and you walk downstairs and you're on the beach. Like, that's the kind of thing it is. And there were a lot of things that we looked over because of how cheap it was. You know, it was, the place has never had air conditioning. None of the cottages have air conditioning. A lot of the appliances are incredibly dated. A lot of the floors, walls, all of that haven't been updated since the 70s. You know, things were basically replaced as they broke and not a minute before, which was fine. Oh, and the Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi was a very recent addition, actually, within the last 10 years, I think, even. And it's always been terrible. Like, you're lucky if you get anything. Which you would think wouldn't be a problem with cell service and everything. And we have an unlimited cell plan and everything like that, which we didn't last year even. But, like, surprisingly, cell service sucks in that one spot too. I think it's right on the edge of like 2 different towers, and your phone is just like not sure what to do half the time. It's great. So Yeah, there were a lot of issues that we were overlooking on a regular basis because of how cheap it was and the fact that all of us could go. And when I mean all of us, I mean we had 4 cottages this year. Between my cousin and her family had one, my grandmother and her friend had one, friend of my mother's had one, and my mother, myself, my brother, and my boyfriend all had another. And there was another couple that go out the same time, but they don't seem to do a lot with us, which fine. Um, but they've always come out the same year or the same week every year. So, there were a lot of things we were overlooking because of how cheap it was. And this year, just kind of the annoyances of how much more expensive everything was and the behavior of the person who runs it at this point were just becoming problems. Like from the get-go, our sink, the kitchen sink in our cottage, was leaking, and eventually it had to just be replaced, which was fine. And it went well, and it works great. I mean, it's a little weird because the hot and cold water are backwards, and he was saying that he couldn't change that, but whatever, okay. But then like a day later, 2 days later, like 4 cottages on the other side of the complex, suddenly their hot water wasn't working. And this woman blamed having to replace our faucet for the hot water not working. She was like, oh, well, ever since we changed that, changed cottage one's faucet, these cottages aren't working. And it's like, how in the fuck would the plumbing of one cottage on one end do anything to the cottages on the other end? Like, fuck off. Oh no, now I notice your address may be difficult to find. Since fucking when? Why do you suck? That's strange. Anyway. So that was kind of like the theme of the first half of the week. When the cleaners came in and cleaned our cottage, they did not mop all of the floors. They only mopped one of the 2 bedrooms. They didn't mop the living room, kitchen. They didn't mop the bathroom. They didn't mop one of the other bedrooms. And so the bathroom, I mean, all the floors were dirty, but the bathroom floor especially was really dirty. And, it's hot. There's no air conditioning. It's humid. The toilet is filled with cold water, and porcelain does transfer heat. And so it created condensation on the outside of the toilet that would leak onto the floor. You would inevitably step in it at some point, and then as soon as you stepped on the bath mat, which was a white towel bath mat style thing, it would leave a footprint because the floors were fucking filthy. And so when my boyfriend and I went to return those things, this has like a laundry exchange sort of deal. You bring all of the dirty towels that you used every day over to this laundry window exchange. They give you a whole bunch of new things, like fresh towels, and they'll do the laundry on their own, right? When we go over to do that, we get yelled at because we aren't supposed to mop up the floor with the bath mat. And we're like, we didn't. It's just that gross. And they're like, well, the machines won't get this out. It's like, it should be able to. You should be using bleach and very high temperature hot water as you are in hospitality. And if you're not, I'm concerned. Didn't really appreciate getting blamed for that. My cousin's family, her fridge stopped working, and $200 worth of meat for her family of 5 was spoiled because it hit 65 degrees, and they refused to compensate her in any way. They told her it was her fault because you shouldn't fill the fridge that much. Bullshit, that's not how fridges work. And refused to replace the fridge as well until my mother went over and gave them like a full talking to. So yeah, that put a pretty big damper on the first half. We were seriously talking about finding another place to stay for next year. Again, 60 years of memories and everything, and talking about a new total place. Like, yeah, it was a little emotionally fraught. I'm not gonna pretend otherwise. It was a little tough. Just to consider this, right? But I was even in the camp of like, hey, we really should consider another place because this is unacceptable. So that was already kind of undergirding all of that. Then at the beginning of the week, we had some tensions just between CVS being really bad at filling prescriptions for my boyfriend for medication that was necessary for him, and having to run errands for basically the first 2 days, partially because of that, partially because just the first day you're out there, you have to run errands a couple of times. It usually happens. And then a dumb thing with my student loans and my student loan account, where in June I was supposed to make a payment, but ended up not being able to because they ended up transferring my account from their old system to their new system. And when they transferred that, I was not able, like I logged into the old system and they said, your account is no longer here. It's in, it's being transitioned. You go to the new system and I try logging in. They're like, you don't have an account yet. And it's like, all right, can't pay. But I get a letter telling me that I am in forbearance, meaning that I don't have to pay, and I will, it's administrative forbearance. So I won't have to pay. It counts for my public service loan forgiveness, and it what? Payment set to zero, and it will not collect interest. That's what I'm trying to say. Interest is set to zero for that time period. Fine, sure. And that says that that will be in place for July in order to facilitate said transition that is now already happening. And it's like, okay, but all right, I won't have to pay my student loan bill in July. Fine. And it also says that when your account is done transitioning, we will let you know 21 days in advance before your next payment is due. Well, I got a letter on July 1st basically telling me that, oh, hey, we've moved your account. It's all done. And we'll let you know 21 days before your payment is due. And I'm like, oh, great. So I went ahead and logged into the portal and I have a payment due in 4 days on the 5th. So much for 21 days of notice. But at that point, I'm like, all right, fine. And also, if I'm supposed to have a payment due July 5th, when I'm also supposed to be in forbearance the entire month of July, why do I have a payment due on July 5th? So I waited to try and give the system like a minute to catch up with itself, maybe, and maybe there was something that I hadn't done. I waited until Friday the 5th to pay because I thought something might change. And it didn't. And I was like, I don't want to really fight them over this. I'm about to go on vacation and I don't want to have to think about this at all. So I went ahead and I paid it. Except because I paid it on Friday and it takes a couple of days to process, it was marked as past due for the entire weekend and most of Monday. And then after that, my payment was set to zero for August, and I was told I was going on administrative forbearance, but the status of my loan still said in repayment, not that it was in forbearance. So I had to call them and be like, what the fuck is going on? And ultimately it's all fine. It's all settled. I don't have to pay in August, but like, just, like too much to deal with at the beginning of the week. Then on Sunday night, 2 days into being there, Sunday night, 2 of my cousin's 3 kids come down with high fevers. And then the next day, my cousin and her husband both test positive for COVID. So they immediately go into isolation, again, in cottages that do not have air conditioning. And, eventually they came back out and they were out on the beach and the kids could still have a good time. They ended up having no symptoms at all, which is great. But they kind of stayed on the beach away from everyone else in order to make sure that no one got COVID. But then on Wednesday, on Tuesday night, my mother starts feeling a little sniffly, and then on Wednesday she tests positive for COVID, and I'm in the cottage with her. Like, that's kind of hard to avoid at that point. So she starts trying to isolate and masking in the common areas of the thing. I'm just trying not to get COVID. I'm trying to make sure my boyfriend, who works hourly and does not have like PTO to use, doesn't get COVID. And yeah, it was just really stressful. And at that point, something like I was dealing with a weird noise in my car that I didn't know what it was. I have since figured it out. It sounds like my AC compressor is going, um, and that is an additional $1,200 to $2,000 of repairs that I would have to put up in order to repair the air conditioning, when it also needs $2,000 of body work in order to not be gross and rusted and everything. And I just sunk $600 of work into it earlier this year and about $1,000 of work into it last year. And I've only owned it for 2 years. So that's already like, you know, $5,000, $6,000 of work in a car that I paid $2,000 for. Hour that so seriously considering what to do about that, but that's all happening. And I had like a full emotional breakdown. I went for a 1.5 mile walk just to like get away from people and just clear my head a little bit. Came back and had like an hour-long cry on my boyfriend's shoulder because I have had a difficult 6 goddamn months and really needed this week to not suck. And it did. And yeah, by the end of the week, I did not get COVID, very luckily. But of course, my roommate has COVID from completely unrelated things. So I am isolating in here, masking around my own house. And shit. Sorry, I'm just finding out that there's a tornado near where my mother is. Tornado? Fuck. I have to make sure everyone's okay. There is no tornado warning in effect, though the National Weather Service urged people to be alert for a possible tornado. Okay. Well, that's cool. I just see a thunderstorm. Tornado possible. Well, that's cool. All right. Well, let's see where the storms are and hope that the storms are past. Sorry that this is happening right now. Oh, and it's starting all the way back at friggin'. Okay, I can't see anything. There we go. Yeah. Okay, cool. That is fun. Um, Hey, coming back to this. So yeah, no, it was just a difficult week. By the end of the week, I did not get COVID. My boyfriend did not get COVID. We are doing our best to continue that. Um, my grandmother did get COVID. She has it the worst out of everyone, but she's okay. It's still ultimately a mild case. My mother is more or less fine. She's just tired right now, and my cousin and her kids are all fine. Strange. So yeah, it was just a really difficult week, when it was really meant to be a relaxing sort of thing, and it wasn't that. So I'm feeling a little cheated out of my week vacation, I guess you could say. So Yeah, we're planning on going back out there at some point, maybe to a different place that doesn't treat us like shit. And treat us like we, the guests, are the problem with the property. Uh, so yeah, considering different options on that one. But we might go back out maybe for my birthday or something like that to kind of claw back a little bit of, nice beach time and relaxation that we didn't have before. I do have a camping trip coming up next month though, so I am kind of looking forward to that, though it will also contain its own weird stressors. While I'm going, there will be someone there who apparently wants to apologize directly to me for threatening my life. So, not terribly excited that they're even there. Not terribly excited about, hearing them out here because that, I don't know. Still doing some soul searching on that one a little bit, not gonna lie. So yeah, fun times all around, and now I have to keep watch on my phone to make sure that my family doesn't die because of storms in New Hampshire potentially spawning tornadoes. Um, Jesus Christ, windows blown out, trees down, and windows blown out down the street. How does she know that though? Let's see. I think I can follow. The National Weather Service. I don't actually know. Okay, yeah, there's this. Yeah, thunderstorm warning. Okay, that's just. I was reading Tormenta and getting that just means storm. Not. Hello. Hi, LRS. Welcome to the Crisis Zone, where I get to sit and watch to make sure no one I know dies. Also, you might actually be dealing with this stuff soon. FYI. Possible tornado in my hometown. And it's moving through most of like central and northern Mass and southern New Hampshire and just plowing right through. So just, keep an eye out on things. Remember what interview is gray. Okay. Just trying to remember what National Weather Service. Okay, severe thunderstorm warning, Sanford. There it is. Well, it says until 8:30 p.m. So hopefully it's passed through. Yeesh. Wind gusts of up to 70 miles an hour. I mean, I now have confirmation that, like, windows shattered and trees are downed nearby. So, cool. All right. No thunder or lightning down here at all at the moment, I think, which is a bit surprising if everyone else in the state is dealing with it. I mean, hills are north. We're flat down here. Things just come right over us anyway, so I don't know why things are tracking north. Just gonna double check the radar real quick, and then we will start the game, I guess. Oh, there is a band that will probably hit. Like around midnight or so. So we will probably miss it for the entirety of the stream. Okay. Well, fun. Things I didn't realize I'd be dealing with today. 500, Alex. I haven't played this game since I played it the first time. There it is. I haven't played this since the last time we streamed it, which was the first time I played it. And so this is kind of giving a second chance sort of deal, you know? We get to see what happens. Now, I also have to admit, I have not booted this up on this computer with this configuration. Like with this new graphics card and everything like that. So I don't know what the I don't know exactly what the graphics situation is going to be. So give me a hot minute. Okay. That's it. Mode. Those windows fine. Graphics set to low. I just set it to high, didn't I? Sync is on. Texture quality on. So okay. Really matter. Okay, yeah, no, just leave it on high, I guess. Fine. Those might get changed a little bit. And just now, I have to break to get my food. Okay. Figures. I did think I might chat everyone's ear off until my food was here, but I will be right back. Just give me a moment to grab my food. Okay, I'm back. I just got off the phone with my mother, just making sure everyone's safe. They're still in the middle of some storms, but it did apparently sound like a tornado came through. Like exactly as you've heard about it, like, you know, freight train coming through and everything like that. So scary shit. But everyone's okay, so oof. Yeah. KFC is what's for dinner, and they fucked up my order too. So actually, oh, that's right. I got to do something about that because they did not give me my drink. Oh, and I just got the severe thunderstorm warning for myself. Okay. Severe thunderstorm warning until 9:15 p.m. So like. Huh. It just says severe thunderstorm though, so. Alright. Guess we're doing it live, you know? How do I? I need to let them know that they fucked up my order. Like the dasher, the delivery guy, the dasher was, you know, like he was very nice and was like, "Oh, I can't see exactly what you're supposed to have. You know, I just see like that there's a you know, I just see that there's a combo and they didn't hand me another drink." And I'm like, okay, well, that's cool. So yeah, I don't have a drink. I have a Coke of my own right here, so like fine, but still it's kind of like, what the hell? Like a way to say I need help with this order or something. Like, it says order completed. I mean, everything else is here. Am I really gonna be that picky about it? I don't know that I care that much right now. I'm hungry and I don't care that much right now, and I want to eat my goddamn chicken nuggets. So here we go. All right, Nancy Drew, Midnight in Salem. I am going to judge the shit out of this. You know, for anyone who's watching this that does not know me directly, hi, I'm the BOSTrophyWife. The key word of that one is Boston. I live about 50 minutes or so from Salem, Massachusetts. I'm very intimately familiar with this town, with this city. And I recall playing this before and having criticisms based on just that alone. I'm definitely interested to try it again. So it'll be interesting, you know, to throw myself back into this once more. It's a little too bad that my boyfriend is not here with us tonight. He actually just moved in with me from Salem, so he would certainly have a lot to say on the matter. But we're going to critique this a little bit because I know this city very well. I know one of the things I bristled at very early on when they were just talking about the characters before they even, when they were like announcing the game and didn't even have anything out. They were announcing the characters and giving us little character bios and profiles. One of the characters, one of the suspects, is a lawyer, and her little profile thing was like, you know, she's come to Salem to escape from the big city law world or something like that, meaning Boston. And again, I am in Boston, and I am about a 40 to 50 minute drive from Salem, Massachusetts. That is not escaping from Boston. She's still in the Boston metro area. Like, there is a fucking train that you're not even at the end of the line on that will take you right to downtown Boston within like 40 minutes, I think. It's bizarre. So yeah. It definitely was one of those things that felt a little bit like these people have never been to the Northeast kind of a deal, or like don't know anything about the Northeast, which, given that her interactive is based out of Washington, is not that surprising. It is very weird to me how the rest of the country sees distance and like their relationship to distance and cities and things like that compared to our relationship to distance and cities. Because like Boston as a city, like I would say there is kind of an outer limit to what I would consider to feel like a city before it starts feeling like suburb. But then I look at a place like Chicago, where the place that Chicagoans actually call the suburbs of Chicago, for us are like up in New Hampshire, right? Like so far away that it's not even funny anymore. Although I guess like New Hampshire would probably be more like exurbs. But like it's all the way out in Burlington, right? All the way out in like, I don't even know, like Lowell. But Lowell's its own city. That's the other thing too, though, is that like we have all of these cities that were founded back when the country was like in its infancy, before it was even a country. Like this is the first settled area of the United States by, you know, the European settlers. And so like, you know, all of these cities grew up around there. Like, you know, it was only this last week that my mother was like, oh, it looks like there's some Stop and Shops that are closing near you. There's one here in Newton. Isn't that the one that you go to? It's like, no, the one that I go to isn't in Newton. And that one is actually like 30-minute drive, even though like Boston shares a border with Newton as a city. It's still a 30-minute drive because of how big Newton is as a city, right? And it's things like that. Like we have these not large cities, but a bunch of small cities that orbit around the large city Boston, which, yes, I know is only a small city compared to things like, you know, Los Angeles or New York, whatever. But like, you know, I don't know, it just doesn't seem to work the same way throughout much of the rest of the United States. It's really just like the Northeast is so dense that for us, a suburb is still city for a lot of other people, that it's weird to me, you know. And that comes across, I think, in this game, where, you know, they consider Salem to be a totally separate entity from Boston, and you really can't see it that way. I know people who live in Salem and commute daily from Salem to Boston to work every single day. That's how close it is. So yeah, if you move to Salem to escape from Boston, you're not going far enough. Like you want to escape Boston and the Boston orbit, you need to go all the way up to Maine. All right, you're going to fucking Portland at a minimum, and even then, you're still going to be like a short train ride down to North Station. It's just yeah, weird. It's weird to me. Okay, chicken nuggets. Hi. Oh shit. Oh shit. I hit continue and that's the same game. I forgot. All right, new game. Here we go. Sorry. My brain was like, what? Oh, hey, it's Ned.
Ned. Austria has been wonderful so far. Dad called. He wants me to get an old relic while I'm here. The Book of Apologies, which dates back to the 17th century witch trials in Salem. I'll be going to Mosam Castle to retrieve it before I head back to the States. It's said to be haunted, so I'm expecting some good scares and mysteries. Ever yours, Nancy.
That is a very different Nancy voice. Oh boy.
Feels like ages since I was on my last adventure.
It literally was.
So, are you coming in?
That's all right, Miss Drew. I'd prefer to stay out here.
Why? It's so warm and inviting in here.
I'm jump scared by the voice itself.
Enjoying yourself.
Lol.
All of Judge Sewell's effects are there, just as your father requested. Although, I will tell you, as I told him, the desk is locked, and I don't have the key. But I will gladly stay and answer any questions you have. From the other side of this door. I recommend opening the window for some light. There's no electricity here. Well, in that room at least.
She sounds really nervous.
Ah, much better. What a wonderful view.
Ooh, yep, already hate it. Hold on. Settings. Ah, advanced. Invert vertical. Wait, did that work? There we go. Oh, no, now I hate it even more. Wait, I thought... Okay.
Is this Judge Sewell's desk?
Ah, yes. That desk is where he spent most of his time working when he wasn't in court. Custom made. If the Book of Apologies does exist, he would have written it at that desk.
And what's inside this alleged book?
Your father didn't tell you? It was a ledger containing all the names of the accused witches from the Salem witch trials. Judge Sewell had doubts about his convictions, and he wrote the book as a means to make amends.
Allegedly.
And it's in Austria. Why is it in Austria? Great question. Actually, I wonder if there is any historical evidence to that. Judge Sewell. Samuel Sewell, judge, businessman, and printer in the province of Massachusetts Bay. I mean, he died in Boston, so... Wrong one. Yeah, I don't know why this is set in Austria. Why the fuck? Huh. Because there's no... There seems to be nothing here about it. Harvard, 76. Here we go. He later regretted his role, going so far as to call for a public day of prayer, fasting, and reparations. Sewell family was blighted by what Sewell thought to be punishments from God. 5 years after the trials, two of Sewell's daughters and Hannah's mother died. Hannah gave birth to a stillborn child. He saw this as a sign not that witchcraft did not exist, but that he had ruled on insubstantial evidence. His records, he records in his diary on 14th January 1697, he stood up in the meeting house he attended while his minister read out his confession of guilt. Huh. But he ended up being a Supreme Court justice and was even Chief Justice of the Supreme Court in 1717. So, as far as I can tell, he never left Massachusetts. So I don't know why Like, he was born in England, but crossed over in 1661 and then never left. So why is his desk in Austria?
I found a letter. It's addressed to Abigail Hathorne Woodley.
What does it say?
I do regret to write to you in this state. I have been racked with guilt as my fervency of spirit was too great to determine a conviction just. He asks for her forgiveness, and for God's.
Oh. Hold on to communication. Oh. That is a very bright orange sky. Not in the fun way. Okay. Ah, look at that. It gets big. Light is all caps. I'm writing a book called The Book of Apologies. To be worthy of his mercy, I am traveling the world to note down all the names of those wrongfully accused of witchcraft. Let this be my final legacy. So I guess in Nancy's universe, Samuel Sewell left the Commonwealth. But
What does this
in
mean?
reality, he just apologized and then, or felt guilty and then kept on living his life. Sounds a little more accurate to me, to be honest. It was light. That was the...
Locked.
It's locked. Oh.
Locked.
So how do I... Ah, like that. Okay.
Oh, great. You know, that room used to be a prison cell. Mosam Castle was the site of the most famous and violent witch trials in Austrian history. The Salzburg witch trials predate the Salem witch trials by 17 years, actually. After the incidents in Salem, Judge Sewell willed his personal effects to be preserved by whichever museum would have them. And
Or that.
we are the premier historical reference on witch trials. It ended up here.
So, you've seen his Book of Apologies.
The book written by Judge Sewell? Oh, no. I've never actually been in that room.
You mind if I ask why? Is there something scarier in here than creaky floors?
Well, let's just say that ghosts exist in this castle. And if they do exist, they definitely haunt that room.
Ghost? Can't say I've ever seen one, but they are non-corporeal by definition.
Ah, Nancy's tism comes out. Hello, Digishow. Welcome. I mean, I'm apparently about to get hit with some really nasty thunderstorms, so we're going to see what happens with that.
Judge Sewell was a pious man.
I'm keeping an eye on my phone because my mother may or may not have been hit by a tornado. She's fine, but...
Of course, the Bible was also used to justify executing people.
Depends on who's reading it. It's often misinterpreted. Give ear to my prayer, O God, and hide not yourself from my plea for mercy. Sounds like a man full of regret.
Shit. What just fell? A pickle. Okay, is there anything that's like... Yeah, we're having a good time here.
Malleus Maleficarum. Wow. The hammer of witches itself. Gives me chills knowing what it did.
Yes, indeed. A how-to guide for hammering out witchcraft. It was written in 1487 by a man whose name I won't even bother to mention because he used bunk science to send hundreds, if not thousands, of people to their deaths.
Wouldn't be the first time. On.
Dr. Hurst?
Yes, I'm here.
Austria is wonderful.
Austria is wonderful.
I do enjoy it here myself. I'm not from Austria. I was brought here by my work. The food is quite an experience.
The pancake soup was great.
I
Yeah,
couldn't tell by your American accent.
the locals consider it traditional.
How long have you known my dad?
Oh, Carson and I are not that close. He reached out to me because I'm the historian keeping track of all the relics here. And as he guessed, we should.
When she finishes, I'll tell you.
Somewhere.
Lucky I was already here on vacation. I was quite surprised when he called and asked me to come. Though I have to admit, visiting a castle is something I've never been able to turn down.
Do you do these kinds of things a lot?
From time to time.
So, the last traditional point and click Nancy Drew was released in 2015, and that was the last game we played. It was number 34. That's not right. 32. I'm sorry, number 32. So the 32nd Nancy Drew game was the last of the like walk around 2D point and click style thing. I say 2D because it was 3D pictures rendered not by the graphics card but pre-rendered and used as a backdrop. This was released in 2019 and was the first. It is the 33rd game. So whereas Her Interactive released for the most part 2 games a year between 1999 through 2015, resulting in 34 games released during that period. They did not release this one game until 2019, 4 years later. And then it took them another 5 years to release the 34th game, which just came out, Mystery of the Seven Keys. At this point, they've kind of fully gone into using Unity. They are doing 3D, 3D adventure game work. This is what we've got. It does show some issues. We'll get to that, but it is definitely different. I'm not going to say it's better. Different.
What else can you tell me about the Book of Apologies?
As I mentioned, it's the book written by Judge Samuel Sewell himself, detailing the names of people accused of witchcraft. Sewell was one of the very few judges who regretted his actions. The book became his way of finding redemption. Sewell himself was originally from England, but acted as a judge in the Salem witch trials. Do you perhaps know why Carson would need such a book? Just out of curiosity, of course. It's just such a very unusual request.
He's looking into it as a favor for the current judge in Salem.
Oh.
Yeah, there's no such thing as the Book of Apologies.
I'll get
It's
back to
totally
you.
fake.
Take all the time you need.
What am I looking for here?
But it won't open. But that's not really important right now.
No, what's important is you need to find this tiny little key, which you have no frame of reference of where it could possibly be. So, fancy. You know, and maybe I need to. First person camera, invert horizontal. Maybe that's my problem. Oh, I hate that too. I hate all of the don't know what it is. I just do not like that thing. Okay. Well, we've revealed the secret panel, but the secret panel's locked. I mean, you can see the texturing and modeling leaves a lot to be desired here, to be honest.
Hi, Dad.
Hey, how's my girl? Having a good time in Salzburg?
Yes, I'm having a blast. The scenery is gorgeous and I'm loving the food. Not to mention, mysterious castles are my jam.
Good, good.
Very quiet.
Castle.
Yeah, that's where I am right now, actually. Hot on the trail of the Book of Apologies, in the castle archive.
Great. Thank you, Nance. This'll set Hugh at ease.
Hugh?
Judge Danforth. We go way back. Has a son about your age. He came to me for help tracking down Samuel Sewell's descendants. And I came across a living relative, Dr. Hurst, in Salzburg.
And then you thought of me.
Sorry about crashing your vacation, but you are already in the area.
Don't worry, Dad. I don't mind at all. I live for cases like these.
Good, good. I knew you'd enjoy
Oh, I just saw something.
The Book of Apologies has become relevant in a legal dispute in Salem, and Judge Danforth wants to do the right thing.
Right, I see. I'd better get this
A legal dispute
ASAP then.
He'll greatly
in a book from the 1690s?
No problem, Dad. I'll get back to it. Talk to
Early
you.
1700s? Like,
keep me in the loop.
okay. Because I just saw the little scratch marks over here. Ah! I found a key. And that does, in fact, look like a key that goes in this little thing. Aha! Aha ha ha! Alright. Back out, down here. Hey! Oh, okay.
What
Alright,
a
that just
clever
opened.
desk. It even comes with a labyrinth.
What? How clever! Let's move the cube. This is not difficult, but okay.
Easy.
It was, in fact.
I found it. It's here.
What? Really? Amazing!
It's locked behind some sort of cage, though.
Wasn't that
The
difficult?
lock says A.W. Any ideas?
A.W.? No. But I have some tools in the shop that might be able to cut it free. In my shop. I'll go. Meet me there.
Where is that? Hey, wait for me.
She just fucking dips.
The Book of Apologies. It's locked.
It's locked.
The Book of It's the Book of It's the Book of It's
Okay.
Nancy! This way!
Oh.
Where is that? Dr. Hurst?
What's with the trippiness?
Nancy Drew, it's Deirdre Shannon.
Deirdre?
What's happening?
Can I call you back? I'm in the middle of...
Listen, I know we haven't exactly been besties in the past, but I'm in the middle of something big, and
Deirdre, I have to call you back.
Wait, don't hang up on me!
Elizabeth? Elizabeth!
Ooh.
Hey, what are you doing? What? The book! They took the book!
Okay.
Stop! Stop running!
Stop running! That always works really well.
Gotta move slowly.
You want to know what else you should do? Not say what you're doing.
Come on.
Tackle!
Oh, no!
Nancy, you are not good at this, are you? Okay.
Gotta figure out which way they went. Must be a clue here. A-W. Same as the desk.
Boston International Airport? I think you just mean Logan, thank you.
A ticket to Boston. Gotta figure out which way they went. Must be a clue here. This canister looks to have been used as a homemade smoke bomb.
Alright, well, I think we have our answer, don't we?
Yes, Deirdre. What is it?
You know where I am right now? Salem.
Salem? As in witch trial Salem?
Obvi.
What a quinky dink.
My cousin has... Well, she's gotten into some trouble here, and I thought I could help her out.
Literally, that's Google. Just Google that.
The situation is much more complicated than I anticipated. So now, I'm calling you to ask for some...
Like, even if it just said, like, Boston Logan.
Ugh, yes, don't make this more painful. I could use your professional opinion, okay?
Well, it so happens that the case I'm on is connected to Boston, which is just nearby Salem. And I was never a big believer in coincidences.
And it's also connected to Salem, so...
I'd love to.
Seriously?
I thought I had reached a dead end, but it looks like I have to go to Massachusetts anyway. And anyway, fresh
Massachusetts.
perspective would do me good.
Ugh, you're already annoying me, and you're not even here yet.
You're welcome. I think it might even be fun.
Oh, this is so the worst idea I've ever had. I'll pick you up from the airport.
Shut up, Dee Dee.
I appreciate you coming here, Drew.
I'm just glad you didn't change your mind and leave me at the airport.
Might have crossed my mind. Keep the excessive cheeriness under control, and we'll be fine.
No promises.
Where were you, by the way?
Austria,
Did I interrupt a vacation with Ned?
didn't you bring me here to help with a case?
Yes, I did. And that's it.
Ah.
Was anyone hurt?
Happened in the middle of the night. No one was there, thankfully. The house wasn't completely destroyed, but the person who lived there had to move out.
There are floating trees.
This is my case. I know you're a detective and everything, but this is personal. It's family. Well, extended, and from my father's side. But whatever, that's not the point. It's personal. You take my lead, okay?
Of course.
But
She said,
Well, I
not
have
convincingly.
a couple of times, Deirdre. And in my experience, we can cover twice as much ground if we work side by side.
you know, respect your experience and whatever, but family trumps experience. It's sensitive, and I don't want you messing it up by being too
To what?
you. You're a question machine. This requires
Those backgrounds are really rough.
delicate.
And that's been your approach.
Well, like I say, I need
There are floating houses,
So, can I ask some questions?
forest blobs.
anyone could stop you.
I'm gonna take like 2 quick seconds to just quickly grab some saltwater taffy. I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. I took the opportunity to also close up some of the house because, for those, or at least the one person I know in the chat who is not from the New England area, our entire air conditioning system is basically just window units, which means that we only cool the parts of the house that we actually spend a lot of time in. My kitchen and the dining room are not cooled. And so in order to try and keep things cool during the summer, we leave the windows open at night. But because of the incoming storm, I thought it would be a good idea to make sure those windows were closed so they don't get ripped off the side of the house. Because they're like the swing open type, they're not double hung things that you open up that way, they just open out. And so if like really strong winds come in and catches them the wrong way, they will just right off. So yeah. First gen Mustang. Oh, it's okay. Yeah, no, that's true. Why the fuck she's driving a Mustang in, New England, I don't understand. And I mean, she and Nancy are from the Midwest, right? So it makes some sense to have maybe a classic car out there, but why would you drive it on a long extended road trip? I don't know. Lots of questions. Like, people don't have classic cars up in New England because of the road salt. It's a bad idea.
Why don't we start with your extended...
Even the rich people,
They're
like,
cousins. The Perrys.
rich New Englanders buy Hondas.
R-R-Y.
Oh, like in fencing.
Yes. Tegan is the older one. May is younger. They had a difficult childhood, okay? And now May
Yeah.
is suspected of committing
Every single one of my cars, except for maybe the one that I'm driving right now,
and I know it's not true. I know it.
has been lost to rust. It's been lost to the roads of New England. So, yeah. The idea of owning any kind of valuable, one-of-a-kind vehicle is terrifying to me. Like, you go to Florida for that shit. Even then, you have to deal with all of Florida. Random hurricane. Okay, all right. Stay safe. If my power goes out, then the stream ends because I do not have a power backup for this computer anymore, and the internet is not anywhere near me. So yeah, we're gonna find out.
What can you tell me about me?
She
Whee!
has a reputation as a troublemaker. Seems like a loner to me. Maybe a bit odd at times. Sometimes she can even sense things before they happen.
Odd how?
I don't know. Troubled teen stuff, difficult time as a kid. Oddest thing is, she won't give an alibi.
That would be seen as...
Ooh, salted caramel.
That's the problem. Everyone is so suspicious of her. Prejudice, I guess. Because of... well, you'll see.
Sounds
There's
like
the
we
first.
should talk to her soon.
Where do you think we're going?
Where do you think you're
What does
going?
Tegan think about this?
She's worried about May, obviously. Tegan isn't like May. She's
Ooh,
upstanding.
shit.
She works at the Salem Museum and doesn't know a thing about criminal cases, which is why she contacted me.
The Salem Museum. I'm guessing that's supposed to be kind of a stand-in for the real world PBD Essex Museum. That's my best guess, at least.
One more question. What can you tell me about this historic mansion?
It's called the Hathorn House, and it's old. Like, really old. And now it's been set on fire.
And that's meant to be a stand-in for the House of Seven Gables.
Yeah, a lot of things. But one that's kinda why you're here.
Which is why.
The Hathorn House is haunted.
All
What
right.
do you mean, haunted?
Exactly that. There's ghosts.
Deirdre,
I don't believe it either, Drew. But I can't explain it. Everyone seems to think they exist. With so many sightings, even if it isn't real ghosts, something is definitely going on. I thought that maybe you can disprove them. So, would you please get out of my car and come inside?
So, I want this game to stop so I can
To work.
talk about things.
Side by side.
Damn it.
You'd better learn to keep up with me.
Oh, we're gonna nitpick the shit out of this. However, I do have some things to add. Okay, fine.
Nancy, thank you so much for.
Can I pause? Okay. Okay, so first things first. It is the Hathorn house, not the Hawthorne house. This is actually something that I knew before even playing this game last time. Yes, we are talking about Hawthorne as in like Nathaniel Hawthorne as in the author. However, Nathaniel Hawthorne's grandfather was actually Hathorne, Hathorne. They added the W to differentiate themselves from their ancestors because they were ashamed of the connection to the witch trials. So Nathaniel Hawthorne did not actually used to be like the Hawthorne family used to be the Hathorne family, and they added the W so that they would distance themselves a little bit more. Now, what's kind of interesting about the idea of the Hathorne house here is that it's very clearly in the game, you know, the model that we saw is pretty standard, you know, 1600s wealthy New England, you know, black all around the outside, pretty large for its time, you know, but you know, it being referred to as the most important historic mansion in Salem would kind of make the real world analog the House of Seven Gables, which was not owned by the Hathorne or, you know, then Hawthorne family. That being said, the families were related eventually. Yeah. It's a little confusing. So they're kind of like mashing up a couple of things together, a couple of concepts. I think if I recall correctly, the John Hathorne home is gone. Da, 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 da. Okay, actually, even to add a little extra context, the W was added to the Hathorne name by Nathaniel Hawthorne himself, because he wanted to distance himself away from his family's connection to the Salem witch trials. So here's the next fun thing, is that the Hathorne house's site was actually right next to where the bewitched statue is in Salem right now. So that's fun. So yeah. I know, it's just like, it doesn't get better than that. Now, Judge Hathorne was perhaps the most vocal of the judges involved, and kind of kicked things off by his questioning of the woman named Tituba, who I believe is one of the few guilty parties from the witch trials that survived. And they do touch on Tituba in this game. So now we're going to roll it back a little bit, and we're going to talk about what we just saw. Okay, so like the exterior of the house, the neighborhood around it, the street, and everything like that. Honestly, not bad. And it is not the worst representation of New England I've ever seen. Certainly not bad for Salem either. There is kind of that mix between these, you know, turn of the century, early, you know, Queen Anne structures, you know, mixed with older brick, colonial style structures from, say, the, you know, mid to late 1700s, mixed in with like brownstone era stuff from the, you know, turn of the century, like I mentioned. So you've got that good historical mix. So the houses definitely look like pretty accurate. What isn't accurate about the street scene that we just saw is how wide the streets are. Okay. To give you an idea, especially in Salem, we're talking about, you know, houses that were built in such close proximity to each other during the time when people would ride just horses, and then later horses in small carriages like landaus, not drive cars, and certainly not cars to the same width that we have today. So what a 2-lane road in Salem, Massachusetts, or, you know, for me in my neighborhood in Boston, like I live on what is a quote unquote 2-lane road. Okay. There is traffic in both directions. Now, with cars parked on both the right and the left of the road, there is only enough space between them for one single car. That is it. All right. And that is a relatively wide road for this area. Like there are actual modern double lane with parking on both sides roads, but those are pretty relegated to like main thoroughfares. And since like my neighborhood is kind of nestled in between two that kind of converge down at a point, right? All of that in between are streets like mine, where it's parking on both sides, one lane in the middle, and if you're coming head on with another car, you just have to find a spot. One of you has to find a spot to pull over, let the other person go, and keep going. Like that is quintessential New England, Boston streets, right? And it's the same in Salem. Absolutely the same. So the street is way too fucking big for a small neighborhood like that. It's way too large. There's no way that they would have a yellow, like a double yellow line, 2 lanes, 2 sets of parking. Not at all possible. In fact, I would even say the streets in Salem are probably smaller than a lot of the streets, even in my neighborhood in Boston. So it would probably be more like 1 lane of traffic and 1 set of parked cars, and that's it. And you are still expected to go in both directions. So, you know, that is, I do recall that is a criticism I had when I first played this game, and it is a criticism I will still hold. And it's not necessarily that I'm angry about it. It's mostly just like, when you hear that Boston has some of the craziest drivers in the country, when you hear that we have some of the craziest and worst traffic, you know, and you compare visuals of what Boston traffic looks like versus, say, Los Angeles traffic. Los Angeles traffic looks crazy, looks awful. And it is. I'm not going to pretend otherwise. But that's because all of it is out there on the highways for you to see. Whereas our traffic is bad because we're dealing with roads that existed before cars were even thought of, before 4 wheels were really even a thing. Like, we're dealing with roads that used to be the only road ever, and then we built a whole chunk of the city out of fucking land that we poured from the like nearby hill into the bay to create more city in the 1800s. Like, it's weird old shit, and that is why our traffic is so bad. And it's like, I just need that to be shown in media and properties so that people really truly understand some of our crazy mentality, that yes, we will run you down off the road because we've been born into this thing and we have no other choice. Okay. It's crazy. Anyway, piece done. Back to the game.
You know, you live in the same neighborhood for 20 years and you'd expect your neighbors to be a little more understanding when your family is falsely accused of a horrific crime. Oh, I'm sorry. How are you, Deirdre?
I'm good, thanks.
Tegan Perry.
Weird. Okay.
Well, our home, although right now my parents are literally on safari in Namibia, so while their daughter is being convicted of a crime she didn't commit, I'm taking care of things around here. They'll be home soon.
She doesn't sound bitter about that at all.
A very expensive courier is tracking them down in the bush. Top notch. I found him on the internet. Deirdre tells me you'll be assisting
On
her
the
in her
internet.
sister's name.
Assisting? Yeah.
She's innocent. I don't know why she won't help herself. She's got a difficult reputation. Well, you know, Deirdre, what people here can be like. She doesn't trust easily, not since... I'm sorry, are you hungry? There's clam chowder, homemade. A little taste of New England. I made up the guest bedroom for you, Nancy. Deirdre...
We get to see the clam chowder.
Make yourselves at home. Oh, I almost forgot. After you girls get comfortable, you two should swing by the museum. Might as well take in some history while you're here, right? Just don't get suckered into that witch's walking tour. Olivia Ravencroft is not a witch. She would have you believing all kinds of nonsense about the town being full of ghosts.
I thought you two used to be friends.
That was a long time ago. Look, I'm sorry, I gotta get going. Running late to an appointment.
Olivia
I
Ravencroft.
appreciate you letting us stay. Before you go, do you have time for a quick question?
Nancy, we just got here.
Sorry, I know you're in a rush. It would really help.
Of course. I have time for one question, if it'll help.
I don't actually know what kind of clam chowder California has. If it's called like New England clam chowder, then probably. It's usually made with like a cream base. The actual like we hate this version of clam chowder that's out there is Manhattan clam chowder, which I don't even eat seafood. I fucking hate seafood. Manhattan clam chowder is an abomination. Like even me, I look at it and I'm like, what the fuck is that? Manhattan clam chowder is an absolute no. So New England clam chowder, if you're gonna have any clam chowder, you've got to have New England clam chowder. Highly recommend having it out here because of course, not only do we know how to make it best, but we've also got the fresh seafood shit. I know you in California, you've got a coast too, so you've got like actual seafood. It's just always funny to me that like when I was in Georgia for grad school, for instance, one of the most popular restaurants in town in this very landlocked area of Georgia, mind you, we were 4 hours from the ocean, okay? Which in Massachusetts terms is being on the other side of the fucking state from the sea. So just 4 hours is still close enough that you can get relatively fresh seafood, right? Fine, whatever. But like the most popular restaurant in town was Red Lobster. Right? Same when I went into Ohio, this totally fucking landlocked state. Okay, I'm sorry, not totally landlocked. You've got the fucking Great Lakes, but you're not getting clams out of the Great Lakes, okay? That's not seafood, that's lake food. But like, yeah, seafood's hugely popular in places where seafood cannot get there fresh. And like, it's just bizarre to me. Again, I don't eat seafood, I hate it, but like, I just got back from a visit to the Cape. My family does a lobster dinner when they're out there, and they'll literally go into town, go to the dock, and buy the lobsters off the goddamn boat. Like, that's the kind of fresh we're talking about that I'm used to. Oh, and now I have a text from my father. Hold on. Okay. I'm not seeing anything about... Double checking, making sure. Yeah, it's still up in the air as to whether there was actually a touchdown or not, but it sounds like there was a lot of damage, though. Which sounds kind of vaguely like it might have been. Yeah. Oh yeah, no, absolutely indulge in the seafood here. It's one of the things that's weird about me as a like red-blooded New Englander is that I am. Oh yeah, no, everyone's okay. I talked to my mom on the phone just a little while ago, and everyone's okay. She texted me just a little while ago to let me know that things seem like they're calming down. I just checked the radar, and the storms are kind of moving out of the area. And my dad just texted me, which means no one's dead. So I think we're okay. But yeah, no, it's just bizarre. It's very bizarre. I mean, I remember dealing with some really severe weather when I was younger, to the point where I thought there might be some tornadoes, and there's definitely been some weird tornadoes in the New England area a couple of times, but they've never gone that far north. My hometown is in a valley, so it's kind of weird to have like that kind of severe weather hit, just because of the topography of the area. There's so many mountains. I mean, there's a reason why people from New Hampshire call people from Massachusetts flatlanders. Like, to me, a mountain, like, to me, the things that are here in Massachusetts that are called mountains are fucking hills. So have a good night, Elra. Stay safe. So yeah, it's strange, but I'm glad everyone's okay. It sounds like, you know, it, whatever it was, hit kind of far enough away from my family that it's fine, but I'll definitely want to get more of the lowdown soon. God. But yeah, no, I am a weird one from New England standards because I don't complain about the snow. I love snow. I've actually been complaining the last couple of years because we aren't getting enough of it, and I want to go skiing. And then I used to not drink coffee. I now drink coffee, but I exclusively drink iced cold brew, year round. Even I will even drink cold brew in the middle of the fucking winter. I am that gay. And then I hate seafood. Yeah, I hate seafood. I will not eat any of it. I especially hate shellfish, but I hate all of it. I hate fish too. I even used to eat tuna fish sandwiches, like canned tuna fish, and that was fine for me, but I can't even do that anymore. It's all of it is disgusting to me. It's just so gross. I know I'm broken. Even my boyfriend thinks I'm broken. He loves fried clams. Oh my god. But like, just do be prepared to shell out, pun not intended, to shell out if you want to have fresh seafood while you're out here. It is worth it, but it's expensive. Even when we were out in Provincetown just last week and we got, you know, food out, and Elliot ordered, he wanted to get fried clams. He ended up getting fried clam strips, because that was $26 instead of getting fried whole belly clams, which was $40, 40. Which, don't get me wrong, fresh is better, but holy shit, $40? God. So yeah.
What can you tell me about where the fire happened?
Pineapple. Ooh.
What have you heard about it? Look, I appreciate you want help, but I don't want you dragging all that up and upsetting May. You told me she would be able to reach her. That's not
what Nancy is asking about.
I'm sorry if I wasn't clear. I just thought since the Hathorn house is important to the town, you must know about it. Through the museum.
Huh.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
There's something more there.
Yes, John Hathorn was one of Salem's founders.
Shit.
His large house estate was the oldest surviving structure from 17th century Salem.
Oh, is that all?
That was 2 questions. I said 1. But yes, he was also the big-time judge that presided over the Salem witch trials.
Is there some other fire I need to know about?
No. May's accident was in a fire. I just don't want her getting upset with unnecessary questions about things long over.
I understand.
You can read all about Judge Hathorn when you come to the museum later. Gotta run.
Okay. So we have...
Tegan said you've been in town for days, but you haven't come by.
I know. I had to check in with your case at the, Look, I didn't want to bother you. How you holding up?
I've been accused of worse.
No, you haven't.
No, you have not.
Get off your butt and finally visit me.
Oh, this is the girl I was telling
The
you
animations are so clunky.
about. See, Drew.
Nice to meet you.
And walks away.
She really doesn't want to talk. This could be difficult. Any advice?
Do better? I'll be in the kitchen.
Do better. Fuck you too. Yeah, I mean, this was their first 3D game, so I guess, you know.
Are you ready to leave yet? We don't have all day.
What were you actually doing before you picked me up from the airport?
What do you mean?
You gave May a non-answer when she asked why it took you so long to stop by here.
A non-answer? Yeah, because I went to the police station.
And?
And they're still going through the evidence.
And you were there for 3 days?
Found out I was May's cousin, they started laughing.
So they think she did it.
Everyone does. So, I went to check out the Hathorn house myself.
Where are you staying?
Inside.
The ghost?
What? No. There was some weirdo there who told me the ghost was going to steal my soul. It was totally creepy. And then I found out that everyone in this town believes in ghosts, so I
Well, that's not wrong.
didn't enter.
Well, whatever or whoever it is, there's an explanation behind it. Did the police give you anything? Anything at all?
They told me there's a Judge Danforth in town, and he's going over the particulars of the Hathorn house estate.
Why is the judge going over this?
But he kinda never let me enter his office. Believe me, I tried.
I know him. Not well, but enough to get through his door and have a conversation.
All right, are we going into town or what?
Sure.
Who could gain something by burning down a house? Insurance claim, maybe?
Possibly. Means, motive, and opportunity. We need to start interviewing. See if anyone checks off those 3 boxes.
And in your experience?
It's usually something much more personal. This tour sounds interesting.
Don't tell Tegan that's your plan.
It'll give us a good overview of the town.
You mean I want to meet the real witch of Salem?
Yeah, I do. She might know something. I wonder why Tegan doesn't like her.
You don't have to investigate everything, Drew. Olivia steals Tegan's visitors, sounds like. You really want to do the dumb tour?
You don't have to come with me.
Side by side. Gotta be honest, it does sound more fun than the museum.
So that is actually pretty accurate, though. I mean, we haven't even seen it yet, but there are multiple museums in Salem. All right. There are 3 that I know of off the top of my head that are kind of relevant here. There's the Peabody Essex Museum, which is what I think the Salem Museum is kind of trying to stand in for. That being said, if I recall what the quote-unquote Salem Museum looks like in the game, it is nothing like the Peabody Essex Museum. But the whole thing with the Peabody Essex is that it is this... oh god, wait, is it the oldest? Let me double check that before I... Yes, okay. The Peabody Essex is one of the oldest continuously operating museums in the United States. It holds one of the major collections of Asian art in the United States. The Peabody Essex Museum combines the collections of the former Peabody Museum of Salem and the Essex Institute, and it is the successor to the East India Marine Society established in 1799. Yeah, this is what we're talking about here. So, total holdings are about 1.3 million pieces, as well as 22 historic buildings. After opening expanded spaces in 2019, the Peabody Essex now ranks in the top 10 North American art museums in terms of gallery square footage, operating budget, and endowment. The Peabody Essex holds more than 840,000 works of historical and cultural art covering maritime, American, Asian, Oceanic, and African art, Asian export art, and 2 large libraries with over 400,000 books and manuscripts. So yeah. Big fucking museum. Don't know how else to say that. It's is a big boy. Gorgeous space. If you do come up here and you do go there, I highly recommend it. I can also say, you know, among some of their the historic properties, one of them is the Ropes Mansion, which you would recognize as Allison's home. I think it was Allison from Hocus Pocus. There is a hall in one of the original buildings of the Peabody Essex that does house a collection all about Salem. So I'm guessing if there is anything that the quote-unquote Salem Museum in this game kind of dovetails with the Peabody Essex, it would be that room. But the Peabody Essex is much larger and much more expansive. There is, however, there are two other museums, and actually I can't remember if that is owned by... No, okay. So there are two oh no, it is owned by the Salem Witch Museum. Okay, I take it back. So sorry. No, there's one other one, the Salem Witch Museum. The Salem Witch Museum is I guess what we could very gently call the kind of hokey tourist trap thing, capitalizing on the witch trials. It has kind of renovated its own image and taken on a little bit more of a scholarly, experiential kind of tone. From what I understand, they now run more like timed shows where they talk about the lasting impact of the witch trials and kind of walk you through it a little bit more than what they used to do, where they were kind of playing up the whole witch city kind of deal. The Salem Witch Museum also owns what's called the Witch House, which is one of the few surviving structures that actually has direct ties to the witch trials. It is one of the judges' houses, and it is kept open as a historical museum. And so it's like one of those things where, like, Salem as a city really traded in on its reputation as like the witch thing. I mean, the evidence of the Samantha statue, the bewitched statue, is kind of deafening just by itself right there, right? But that being said, in more recent years, there's been kind of concerted effort in Salem to renovate its image to be a little more respectful of what the witch trials actually were, and that they were a pretty terrible time. Even the Witch House and Salem Witch Museum have kind of rehabbed their image to be a lot less about dumb ahistorical stuff. Oh my god. So, you know, the fact that there is a tour guide here who's calling herself the one witch, like the true witch of Salem or something like that, and she has this like hokey, like tongue-in-cheek magic thing that's probably just to take people's money, like, yeah, that's accurate. There's definitely those people there. And that's one of the more interesting things about Salem, is that it is simultaneously a magnet for actual witchcraft and Wicca practice, and also a magnet for charlatans, for lack of a better word, capitalizing on that as well. It's sometimes even hard for me to tell, as lefty liberal and as with as many friends that I have that are, you know, that practice witchcraft in their own right. It's hard for me to tell sometimes how, like, which ones are legit witchcraft stores and which ones are just trying to sell you a stick in the woods that they found as a wand for $15. Like, it's a thing. It's a thing. was promised.
Huh.
Huh?
Huh.
Huh. I love the quote-unquote art in this. It's just like coffee. Style or Cital. Ooh, hi. Jesus, fuck. Okay. I was looking over here first. Hold on. No. Nancy. No. It is very Home Goods. Like, somebody went to frickin' Target and was like, hey, I want this painting that's definitely...
Looks peaceful from up here.
Okay, yeah, you can kind of see. So, like, yeah, these houses are pretty accurate to what you would see in Salem, Mass. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's not bad. That is pretty fair. I guess the one thing that makes it a little less is they're all kind of nice and clean and new looking, and trust me, they're not all really like that.
What does this mean?
There's a lot of really dirty houses in Salem. Not entirely sure why they get that way, to be honest. It's a very wealthy city as well, I have to say that. Salem has a lot of money.
Oops, wrong door. The guest room is at the end of the hall.
Chill, Nancy.
I probably shouldn't be in May's room without an invitation.
New England riot. Huh. That's a thing. I don't know what the fuck is with these lamps. Looks like shit. Not gonna lie, whoever did the interior decoration in this place needs to be fired. Aw, real life photos that definitely don't look out of place at all because can't interact with any of them. Yeah, can't interact, that's fine. What a charming picture to have above your mantelpiece. That's so charming. What the fuck is the... Oh, that's just the way the light is hitting it, making it look like it's glowing. Is that Audrey Hepburn?
Rust be gone. Now that's handy. Never know when a bit of stubborn iron oxide will get in the way of investigating.
I don't know why there's just a portrait of Audrey Hepburn there. But, you know. Okay. Sure.
This convertible. Looks strikingly familiar.
Like, this would have made more sense if these were like, you know, drawings of Nancy or something. What does that say? What great painting something, volume 1? Alright, whatever.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah?
Do you mind if I look around the house?
Ugh, you're so weird. I'm done talking, okay?
Alright.
Are you ready to leave yet? We don't have all day.
Do I just walk out the door? Like, what are we doing here? Ah, yeah, okay, we just walk out the door. Alright. Nedley.
Hi.
Nance, how have you been? Thanks for finally picking up.
Sorry, I've been on a flight.
Busy on another case, huh? You know, you should really enjoy yourself more, Nance.
Fuck off, Ned.
Short to be working all the time.
This
I'm
is
so glad that even with the new
crime doesn't take
Even with the new Nancy, we still have old Ned being a nag.
Come on.
Yeah, 1 second.
Sounds like you're having fun.
You know, standard fare. Nothing too crazy. I miss you, Nance.
I miss you,
Hey, give it back.
too.
Nancy, I'll call you later.
Call you later, Nancy.
Well, that was... yeah.
Didn't Ned go to Emerson? Emerson College in River Heights. Oh. When they said Emerson College, I thought they meant Emerson College in Boston. Hi, shit. Okay.
I think we should head right for the judge. What do you think?
That was a lot. What the fuck was that face, though?
Sounds good. Let's go meet the judge.
Yeah, let's go.
Creepy. Right up the nose, I know, right? Thornton Hall. Okay, that's cute. That's a nice little cute thing. Ghost of Thornton Hall pumpkin. I'm down for that. Yeah, the streets are way too wide. And this green patch wouldn't be here either. Like, it's literally front door of house, sidewalk, curb. Bam. Nothing in between. The trees are cutouts in the sidewalk. It's way too big. Way too big. The rest of it's fine, but cars are on the wrong side of the street. You are correct. That's hilarious. I mean, guilty as charged. I park on the wrong side all the time at my street, but no one cares. Especially me. A protest? Oh boy. This is New England, not Old England. Listen, it's old New England. There's actually been a couple of TikToks recently talking about New England and Boston, and it's kind of strange to me because there was this woman who somehow I found, like, she just stumbled onto my For You page, and she I don't know where she's from, Sweden, Switzerland, you know, she definitely had that kind of lilty thing, so maybe it was like Sweden, Finland, you know, Nordic area. But she was in New York and then did like a day trip or 2 days in Boston, and she even remarked at how European Boston feels. And yeah, that's kind of one of the reasons why I think I like it, is it really feels more like a European city in the United States than an American city. Despite being the birthplace of the American Revolution, no less. Which is weird growing up with that in your backyard. Like, it really does every once in a while just like strike me. I was born in Concord, Massachusetts, and I did not realize for the longest time that the Concord, Massachusetts I was born in and the Concord, Massachusetts of Battle of Concord and Lexington fame, shot heard around the world and all that, are the same. Like, logically it makes sense, but I have trouble reconciling, you know, the almost mythological historical event and the sites with the shitty concrete brutalist hospital I was born in. Like, it doesn't make sense. So now we get to critique downtown. Holy shit, hi. Really inconvenient out of the way parking spot. Not wrong. She really should be parked nose in though. And that's parallel parking, and that's wrong. Like, these aren't bad, but they're not great either. Like, there are parts of Salem that look kind of like this, I guess. But not a lot of Salem looks like this. It's hard to describe, but it's not this. These are a little too European in my mind. I don't know what the fuck this is. This is supposed to be like the town hall and court or whatever, and it looks nothing. It looks all wrong. It's certainly not a historical building if it's meant to be. If it's meant to look like if it's meant to be a new building pretending to be a historical building, I guess it's fine. But as a historical building, it looks all wrong. I don't know why there are hay bales here. At no point in time will Salem have hay bales out with the pumpkins and things like that. That is like Western Mass, Central Mass, Southern New Hampshire shit, not Eastern Mass. Ah, I'm guessing that's a text message. Alright, I'm going to have one single final piece of candy. Well, this is a strange mechanic to start with. Cool. That was not interesting.
Visitors! By now, you know the story of the witches of Salem. Those poor souls were caught in a time of fear and greed, and they paid the price. They may have died, but witchcraft lives on in Salem.
Oh, this should be interesting.
The world would have you believe witches were not real. I'm not talking about old, ugly women who curse their neighbors and fly on broomsticks. The truth is, witches are real. They have always been real. They are alive and well. They are powerful, carrying the secrets of the world beyond the one we see. Ritual, mystery, magic. Most exist now only in secret, and they may be standing among you even now. It is said that in Salem, a coven of witches settled in recent years.
She doesn't know about witch talk, does she?
Revenge for the deaths of the Salem witches. Their ritual, one midnight
Wrong tube.
unleashed the angry spirits of the past. Thank you.
That looks familiar.
Now, if any of you are interested in the real history of the witches of Salem, I provide self-guided tours through some of my favorite locations in town.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if there's anything that I know of people who do practice witchcraft, it is that they will very vocally talk about being.
There was a thief? What were you doing there?
Visiting a spooky old castle. You'd have liked it.
Do you regularly fly to Europe for investigations?
Sometimes.
And if you want to learn...
And are you jealous?
Huh.
Okay, so more things, more thoughts. This guy right here, so Roger Conant. I do not believe he actually has a statue. No, he does. Never mind. Oh, and you know, that is actually a really good oh, now I know where I've seen him. Okay, yeah, he's outside the Witch Museum. And if this is meant to be, okay, but that's meant to be the PBSX. It really is. It looks like a chunk of the PBSX right there. Huh. Yeah, because this is right next to the Salem Witch Museum, right on the corner of the Common. I mean, yeah, they did a pretty good job of capturing it. That's what it looks like. And on the rock and everything. My brain totally glossed over where it's actually, because it's not anywhere near where the PBSX is, like I said. That's meant to be kind of the PBSX Museum. So yeah, if we go over here, we look at this. Salem Museum of History, okay. 'Cause that is not at all this. Okay, this is weird. I'm sorry, it's weird. Let me see if I can find what this is. So there is an actual building that this is based on. I think it's the old town hall, but as far as parts of the Peabody Essex Museum, there is a building at the Peabody Essex that looks kind of like this. Kind of, if you squint and ignore that it's not made out of brick. I don't know how else to put this. It's weird. I'm getting nothing but pictures of the new building. Oh no, there's the Maritime Hall. East Indian Marine Hall. Okay, yeah, so I like, this is not, like I said, this is not what this is one-to-one, but I think this is kind of the general gist of what this is going for. Peabody Essex Museum, older building, Marine Hall kind of deal. This building, though, I believe is the old town hall. Yeah. It's pretty damn close. It's not quite, but it's pretty damn close. And I will show you a picture of that. Here we go. Right here. So I think they're mashing these two things together and making the institution of the Peabody Essex into the Salem Museum of History and putting it in a building that is very much inspired by, not quite one-to-one, the Old Town Hall of Salem. So we have some not completely wrong things here. That's fair. I'm gonna critique the cemetery a little bit. Oh, fuck. Hold on, can I read about this?
To explore the graveyard with a tour guide. It'll be more useful to explore the graveyard with a tour guide.
We might have to touch on it later because I see graves in here and I think they're wrong. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're wrong. Justice is delayed. Justice delayed is justice denied. AW. Okay. Those people have nothing to say to us. Okay.
A specter may be hanging over Salem, but that doesn't keep the town from getting into the Halloween spirit.
Or we're talking about the pumpkins, not... Though I will say...
Really chanting up a storm. What has them so angry?
So, Halloween in Salem is a weird time. From about middle of September through the middle of November, Salem is crazy. Because everyone from outside Salem descends on it for Halloween. Salem itself, the actual residents of Salem, don't seem to like Halloween very much. I have always been kind of struck by, like, you know, the downtown area is all heavily decorated because they're going for the tourist dollars, but when you're in kind of the outskirts and residential areas of Salem, people don't decorate a whole lot. They really don't seem to do a whole lot with that. And I honestly think it has more to do with the fact that all the tourists show up and they don't want tourists sitting outside their house, looking at like cool display or whatever. But I've also noticed that outside of New England, there's a lot less Halloween decoration that goes on, and it's a little sad to see. I was out in Ohio, kind of in the Athens area last year, leading up to like in October, and like I was just kind of struck by how little there was. It was just sad. I don't know. But Salem is not the place if you want to see like the fun, cute Halloween displays, because the residents don't seem to want to do that.
Why are there protesters in a small town like this?
Whoa, okay, alright, I'm gonna guess that was like, hey.
Why are there protesters in a small town like this?
Also, Salem is a city, it's not really a small town, but okay.
Judge's office to the right.
Hey, what are you doing?
He's a judge, Deirdre. He's not gonna bite. Hello? Judge Danforth.
Yeah.
Knocking would be nice.
Ted? Is that you?
Ted? Who's Ted?
No, Your Honor. My name is Nancy Drew. I think you've spoken with my father.
Nancy Drew? Carson's daughter?
Yes, and I'm with my friend Deirdre Shannon. We're investigating the arson of the Hathorn house.
Ah, yes.
Can we come in?
Well, you see, no, I mean, I'd let you in, but I seem to have been locked in my office and I need some help getting out.
Okay.
Do you know where I could find a key to your office?
Yes, I believe I gave a copy of the key to Alicia Cole as backup. She's just down the hall. I hope she's still here.
He's locked in his office. Good job. So, okay, we're gonna have some more critiquing things because I want to point out right from the get-go that we are in Salem, Massachusetts. So when I turn to the right here and look at this map, why is it of Arlington, Massachusetts, which is not near Salem? Arlington is a suburb of Boston. The city is a little to the northwest of Boston, kind of northwest even of Cambridge, whereas Salem is far to the northeast. So yeah, I don't know why Arlington, Massachusetts has a map here, why we have a historical map of Arlington. And then we look over here and we see an upside down historical map of Boston. In 1774, is that it? 1772, something like that? From map of the town of Boston in New England by Captain John Bonner. Okay, yeah. So this is actually an interesting, fun little thing because you can kind of see how the city was built out. But again, this is upside down and backwards. Because this is north, this is east, southwest. So just think of it that way. This kind of thick line all the way around here is the original boundary of the city of Boston with the sea. Okay, everything around it was Boston Harbor. And all of this stuff here has been built out away from the shore. But the most interesting bit is this right here, right? This is filled in, and this part also. These two parts have been filled in. This is what is called now the North End. So it is kind of where a lot of Italian immigrants have settled. There's really good Italian food. If you're ever in Boston, go to the North End for Italian food. But this area right here has been built out into city. And all of this over here is what we call the Back Bay. So right here on the common on this side, this is what used to be called Beacon Hill. It's where the state house for the Massachusetts State House is, where the Massachusetts government is held. And there was a massive hill here called Beacon Hill. We raised the hill and used the soil from it to fill in the Back Bay here and create more city. That happened in kind of the 1800s. So you can even see this the fainter lines show streets of 1880. So this map is kind of a map from the 1880s looking back at the 1770s. So this whole area here was built out in the late Victorian era. It's perhaps the most grid-like structure of the whole city. And while we do not have like First Street, Second Street, Third Street, and like First Avenue, Second Avenue, Third Avenue, like New York has, even in this area, what we do have is that each street is named alphabetically from, you know, one end to the other. So we have like, let me like pull up a map real quick so I can make sure I'm naming them properly, because I'm getting my avenues and streets mixed up here. So, like the major, there we go. All right. The major ones are not that case. So we have like Beacon Street, Commonwealth Ave, Marlborough, Boylston, St. James. They're a little bit of a mess. But like right here on the edge of the garden is Arlington Street. And then the next street down is Berkeley Street. The next one is Clarendon, Dartmouth, Exeter. You kind of see what I'm saying here, right? Like Fairfield, Gloucester, Hereford, like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. It's kind of clever. I think it's clever, but you know, whatever. And then we have a map of Massachusetts, which that's fine. That's fine. No, that makes sense. You know, I still don't know why we have a map of Arlington in. Is she T-posing? She's just T-posing right outside. It's. Listen, it's a new protest tactic, all right? It's, oh, I can't turn. Damn it. Ah, and I can't see her from here. It's the new protest tactic, right? T-pose for dominance. It's fucking great. Great. Okay. What else? I actually don't know who these people are. Give me a second and let me use the power of my cellular device. Figure out who these are. What have you got for me? Salem Witchcraft, book by Charles W. Upham. Yeah, but no, that is Charles W. Upham, who wrote the book Salem Witchcraft. Okay. 7th Mayor of Salem, Massachusetts, Historian of Salem and the Salem Witch Trials of 1692. Okay. Yeah, no, that tracks. That is definitely a person I would want on the walls of a place in Salem, Massachusetts. That works, or at least that I would expect to see. That's what I thought. That is wait, no, who is that shit? I'm getting Taft, Roosevelt, James Monroe Turner. None of these look right. I mean, yeah, the fat guy with a mustache from the 1800s, so you know, your mileage may vary in finding the exact thing. I'm not sure who this is, but it would be weird if it were like William Howard Taft. Huh. I'm not finding it though. So, alright, well, moving on. See, I love that. I love that. I like the idea of creating that kind of organization without making it boring, like first, second, third. And I understand how useful that is. Like, I understand, especially in New York, it's really easy to be like, corner of 5th and 32nd, you know, or like, you know, Madison and 5th. And like, sure, but like, I don't know. So boring. Who are you? You look familiar. Why do you look familiar? Leverett Saltonstall Jr. Or, sorry, Leverett Saltonstall Sr. My mistake. Or no, just Leverett Saltonstall. Ah. Okay. Salem, U.S. Congressman, elected to represent 2nd District. Okay, fair enough. Another politician. Again, makes sense for the courthouse, I guess. It's kind of weird that you don't have more, like, judges, though. You are Clarendon Phillips, Essex. Well, I mean... Clarendon Phillips, Essex. This is fun because it gets to be like a little... I'm sorry, Stephen C. Phillips. Stephen Clarendon Phillips. There it is. I don't know where the Essex part was coming from. Another representative from Massachusetts. 2nd mayor of Salem. Preceded by Leverett Saltonstall, the guy who's, you know, currently behind me. Born in Salem, Mass. Ta-da. Oh, interesting. He perished in the burning of the steamer Montreal on the St. Louis River. Wow. Okay, that's kind of cool. Well, not cool. I mean, obviously that kind of sucks, but interesting, I guess we'll say. All right, we're still doing this. Boston. I don't know why there's a thing of Boston again in Salem, Massachusetts. I mean, I guess it makes a little bit more sense because Boston is bigger deal to Salem than Arlington is, but again, I don't understand Arlington. But yeah, this is a view of Boston in 1880. So you can kind of see like this area all over here, this grid that's over here, that is Back Bay. That is all what used to be part of the bay and literally was considered a 2nd bay. This is now the Back Bay neighborhood. We've got the blank Boston Common. There it is. We've got the Boston Common here. Public Garden right over here. 2 very beautiful spots. You can see this right here is Beacon Hill, the building Beacon Hill. And you can even see this bridge right here, I believe, is the what bridge is that? That's not the Longfellow, is it? That's this one over here, right? No, that... Wait. No, that's not the Longfellow. That's what I thought. No. No, what is that one? Shit. Harvard Bridge. Did we really call it the Harvard Bridge? Huh. I didn't realize that. For some reason. Yeah, no, Longfellow Bridge would be this one right here. That's kind of the sort of famous looking one in Boston, as far as famous bridges go. This doesn't really exist anymore. That's been kind of closed off. There's no longer a way to get from here to here. Yeah. Is that the Longfellow? No, it isn't. So that's the Harvard Bridge. Right. Doesn't look anything like that anymore, that's for sure. What's weird about it being the quote-unquote Harvard Bridge is that it doesn't lead to Harvard. The Harvard Bridge actually leads to... Oh no, that is... no, what did it used to look like? That's what I'm looking for. Okay. Yeah, the Harvard Bridge apparently leads to MIT, actually. Harvard's further down the river. So, all right, I'm done. I promise. We'll play the game. God damn it.
Can I help you?
Hi, so sorry to bother you at this hour, but we're here to meet with Judge Danforth, and he seems to be locked inside his office.
He said you might have a key.
Sorry, I gave him my spare. Unbelievable. Does this ever end?
Oh, well then, do you have a paperclip?
Yeah. And if you don't mind me asking, what business do you two have with the judge?
We're helping the judge with a case.
Anything I can assist you with?
Thanks, but I think we got it. No need for a lawyer. At least, not yet.
The diploma gave me away, huh?
The 3?
You're still drinking, and the deluxe open box of sticky tabs. Yeah, you could say I know the type really well.
Nancy Drew, you really are your father's daughter. It's nice to finally meet you.
You know my dad?
Small world. If you need any assistance or more paper clips, feel free to ask.
So, okay, all right, we got Columbia, Harvard, and Stanford. Hold on, I need to... having trouble reading them properly. It's weird that Stanford's doesn't have a seal on it. Like, Harvard has a seal, Columbia has a seal, Stanford doesn't. That's very odd. And it's also strange that this one's the smallest, but it's Stanford Law. And she wouldn't have an undergraduate degree from Stanford Law. You can only get graduate degrees. And graduate degrees are generally larger than this. This is more the size that I would expect a bachelor degree to be. These are master's degrees or higher degrees, basically advanced degrees. So, you know, based on this, I would say she has her JD. You know, she is a doctor of law at this point. It's weird. Anyway, this, I don't know why this is here, because this isn't Boston. What city is this? It's not New York, I don't think, unless it's a different part of New York, or an older photo maybe. Come on. Come on. All right, what photo is this? Okay, no, that's not helping me here. All right, we know that this photo, all right, is frickin' stock photo, so don't give me shit. That it? That's the thing, yeah, it doesn't look like New York. All right, I think I found the original photo, but it's not telling me what it is. This is some weird... Search image with Google Lens. Oh my god, really? No, I see it now. Oh my god, that's Tokyo. That is Tokyo. Why is there a... Okay, alright, whatever. You know, this is something, it's her own personal office. She can have a giant photo of Tokyo in her house, in her office, that's fine. If you look really closely, you might not see it because of the smaller screen and the inlay with everything, but Tokyo Tower is right here. Didn't give it away right away, but now that I know it's Tokyo and I know what I'm looking at, yeah, it makes sense. Huh. Weird. Ooh, fuck.
Hello? Judge Danforth. I was hoping we could talk about the Hathorn House case.
Yes, it's a terrible tragedy for our town, but let's table that discussion for later, okay? I'd like to get out of my office first.
I wanted to talk to you about the Book of Apologies. You know, the book in Austria, at the Mosam Castle.
Yes, Nancy, I would love to talk about it, but I would really love if we could do it in person, face to face, as opposed to through this door.
I don't know. I feel like the door is fine.
Judge Danforth, I couldn't find your key.
What? Alicia said she'd keep a copy for me.
Well, I did find a paperclip. I think I can pick your lock, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, sure, fine.
All right.
Shouldn't be too much of a challenge.
So the funny thing is, I actually follow the lockpicking lawyer. And this is actually kind of the basics of a tumbler lock. Like, the fact that this one is giving the most resistance means this is the first one we're going to push up. Yeah, okay, so that's giving quite a lot of resistance. So this is the next one. I just learned about this. Oh, wait, what? Oh. Like, this is actually accurate to how locks are picked. These tumbler locks.
Ha! Still got it.
Efficient. How'd you learn to do that, actually?
Online video tutorial.
Someday you have to tell me about your secret life.
I mean, I just learned how to do it the other day on TikTok, so not wrong.
Which, honestly, I just don't like.
Someday.
The Salem Lions. Well, that's not what Salem's Salem's high school team. Well, I mean, nobody look it up. But I want you to tell me what you think the name of the Salem team is. Like, what their team name is called. It's not the Lions, it's the Witches. Yeah, you're right. It's the Salem Witches. They're the Salem Witches. They're not. It's not subtle at all. Oh, okay. Okay, now I gotta look at this chip here. Here we go. I love how we have gotten through barely any of the game because I keep going on these like complete sidetracked things. No, that's not it. I mean, it's not a huge deal if I can't find anything, but I am not seeing this exact print replicated here, which is fine, I guess, but whatever. Yeah, he likes boats. He likes boats.
Ah, those protesters are out there again, stirring the pot.
We're not going to talk about you being locked in your...
Used to be a quiet place.
Nothing about Salem has ever been quiet.
It has infiltrated our community. I have no doubt one of those troublemakers locked my door and threw away the key. Now, Nancy, your father and I have discussed.
Oh, sorry. I'm not Nancy.
Of course you're not. You look nothing like Carson. Did your father ever tell you about the time we won 4th place at the Lake Winnipesaukee Regatta? You see...
Hey, that's in New Hampshire.
2010 vision, so I was the navigator and...
Judge, this is Deirdre Shannon. She's working with me on the case.
Deirdre, you're the one who tried to break down my door.
Breakdown?
Your Honor, that's an exaggeration. I was knocking. Heavily.
I was knocking.
I'm really busy dealing with this Hathorn House business. Being a judge is not as simple as, investigating during your free time.
Well, we just used our free time to unlock your door. So I'm sure you'll be willing to repay us with some answers to our questions. Right?
Yes, of course. What can I help?
Kind of persuasive, not gonna lie, so.
Can you explain to us how you're involved with the Hathorn House?
Well, yes. The house was built by Judge John Hathorn during the 1600s, and it represented the oldest surviving structure from that era. Judge Hathorn, of course, was one of the 3 judges that presided over the Salem witch trials.
Yes, and I'm sure we can read all about the home's history in Salem's museum.
More recently, Frances Tuttle, Judge Hathorn's last direct descendant, lived in a small section of the house while the rest was left to fall into considerable disrepair. She was alone, except for a part-time caregiver, Lauren Holt, who had a bedroom in the carriage house. A few months ago, Frances Tuttle passed away, which left Hathorn House without a legal heir. According to the historical statutes of Salem, after 90 days, the house reverts to public property, the deadline of which is 2 days from now, at midnight.
I was told that the burning of Hathorn House...
Now we get the real mystery.
...arson. How did the police come to that conclusion?
The investigation found paint solvent residue on burnt embers, suggesting someone deliberately used an accelerant. Thankfully, Mrs. Tuttle never had to see what became of her home.
And what evidence do you have that May Perry is the one responsible for this?
Evidence? Have you ever heard of recidivism? 3 out of 4 criminals in the United States are repeat offenders. And there's only one person in all of Salem who has a history of fire-related crime.
In all of Salem?
Not yet, but there will be.
You don't need evidence. She's already been convicted in the court of public opinion.
Is that what she said?
No, I'm saying it.
She has a history with this sort of thing.
What's May's motive? What does she gain by burning down the Hathorn House?
You'd have to ask her, and while you're at it, you can ask about her alibi, which she refused to give to the police. So, any other questions?
So, Salem attracts a lot of people, often due to its reputation. Someone being guilty of arson sounds like something I feel the Salem police would prefer some of the weirder residents be into. I don't know if any of you heard about the woman who made dolls from human bones. That were stolen from the morgue at Harvard Medical School. Yeah. The FBI got involved in that one. That was recent too. Yeah. It was like a whole thing where someone at the morgue at Harvard Medical School was basically dealing in body parts on the black market and selling them to some people in Salem who were using them as I don't know what to say exactly, because I don't know really whether it was like just her art or if it was more of like an occult-ish type thing. But yeah, human remains. That's the kind of shit that goes down in Salem when it comes to like the weird illegal shit. We're not talking about like arson. Don't get me wrong, the arson's still bad, but like this guy should, at this point, having lived in Salem and been a judge in Salem at this point, should have seen so much more shit than someone who likes burning down houses. Like, that should be the easiest thing on his docket to be like, oh, okay, no, this is a legitimate, normal, major crime that happens in other places that are not named Salem, Mass. And not, you know, someone using pureed body parts in fucking creepy baby dolls that they sell on Etsy. You know, that's, yeah.
So the Book of Apologies. Why did you really need it?
Yes, and first of all, I'm so glad you're all right. Nasty business. Had I known you were going to be put in harm's way, I would have never called.
Pretty sure it was on Etsy, yeah. Hold on. I'll find the article.
For my father. He trusts me. I can handle myself.
Yes, I'm sure you can.
So I've already heard some stories, but would you mind giving me your version of why the book is important?
Yes, so Judge Sewell was rumored to keep a ledger of all the accused, intending to publish it to reconcile with their families and clear their names. But he passed away before he could do so.
Going to Austria for a rumored book seems like a heck of a long shot.
Well, I have been under some pressure from the AW group. AW as in accused witches.
That's what that means, okay. I thought it was on Etsy, but maybe it wasn't Etsy. Yeah, there's an article. Yeah, all the socials have been taken down, so I'm not entirely sure. May or may not have been Etsy, but still, yeah, yikes is an understatement. That's, again, that is the kind of weird shit that happens in the city. And so again, arson, while a major crime still, is normal stuff that happens in places that aren't named Salem, Mass. And I'm pretty sure any judge would be like happy to deal with that instead of fucking woman who buys faces from Harvard's morgue and may or may not turn them into dolls. Like, fucking Christ.
Don't you think it's dangerous throwing around May's name as a suspect before any evidence links her to the crime?
What do you mean? What are you saying?
From what you've described...
I mean, what does it all mean?
...against May. Yet you were saying that she did it. I just... As a judge, I think you would be the first to admit that sounds prejudicial.
It is not just me, Miss Drew. There are plenty of people who believe that May is responsible for this crime. It is not prejudice when she is the only likely suspect.
Actually, that is the definition of prejudice.
I'm not going to have this debate with you. Is there anything else?
So, how did Frances Tuttle pass away exactly?
Was it murder? Oh no, she was really fucking old.
Death was of natural causes.
So they never investigated Lauren Holt.
You need the suspicion of foul play to investigate someone, young lady.
We'd like to speak with her all the same.
She still lives on the estate, although for how much longer we do not know. You can also find her in her shop, Luminous Infusions. She might be willing to talk to you.
Talk to you later.
Miss True, before you go, there is something else I need your help with.
I need your help, but also
Are you?
Oh no.
your friend is guilty.
There was an incident here recently. Someone broke into the evidence room.
Oh. Have you called the police?
Well, no, not yet. I don't think anything was taken. Never mind. I'll call the police. Thank you for your time.
Weird.
So, how did your meeting go with the judge?
Informative. But he's not telling us everything.
Don't worry. Come back tomorrow. He'll be in a better mood then.
I'll come back later.
Here we go.
What do we want? Justice. When do we want it?
She was the one who was T-posing.
Uh-oh, here comes trouble.
Me? Never. Well, nothing too bad, I hope.
Did you know that in the Malleus Maleficarum, ginger hair was the sign of a witch? You're my kind of people.
I'm not nearly as talented as you are.
Aw, shucks. You're making me...
Yeah, it's even jankier because it's actually a 3D environment.
So to become a witch, do I need to take a test or get a diploma?
A true witch is not made with pieces of paper. She is born to it and will feel the call. Bureaucracy is for persecutors. We don't need permission. We don't live by the rules. Anyway, what can I help you with?
I love how we're just having this conversation while she stands on a stage in the middle of, like, in the middle of a busy Salem street. Like,
How did you perform that trick?
A witch never reveals her secrets. It's against the witch code.
A code?
a magician never reveals their secrets.
Although, if
They're more like guidelines.
you will learn at least one secret about being a witch.
How often do you do this show?
Most nights. It gets busier around Halloween. And I'm sure you can figure out why.
How about the night that the Hathorn house was burned?
You look a little young to be working for the police, dear.
Oh no, it's nothing like that. We're just curious tourists.
Because I've already spoken with them.
And so, you were here.
I was out of town. Did you girls know that Salem is haunted? There's a ghost here.
Only one.
If you go on my tour, you'll learn where you can find it.
Only one.
Have you lived in Salem for long?
Born and raised.
So you know the Perrys?
Of course. Not well. If you were looking for them, Tegan is at the museum. She works there.
Not well. We're staying with Tegan. I figured there was some history between you two.
That was a long time back. We don't talk much now.
And May?
Yes, I know her too. Not spoken to her for a long time either.
But you've heard the rumors about her.
May is a troubled girl. And sometimes such girls get blamed for things that were not their... I don't think she burned down the Hathorn house, if that's what you're trying to get at. People with mundane minds look for mundane explanations.
So you're saying that the house spontaneously combusted because magic.
Some modern witch coven unleashed ghosts on Salem?
About 8 years back, there were rumors of a coven that they performed a ritual to return the dead witches to Salem to seek out their revenge before the witches moved on.
there any evidence of such a coven?
Ever since then, ghost sightings have gone through the roof. Salem is now considered the most haunted place in the country.
Interesting.
You think it's a coincidence that the former home of the Hathorns was set on fire?
America's most haunted house is apparently... Oh, well, hold on. Savannah is apparently one of the most haunted in the US. So what do we have? This list here. New Orleans, Ollie's Island, South Carolina, Chicago, Pine Barrens, New Jersey, Savannah, Georgia, Queen Mary on Long Beach, California. Yeah, I've heard that. Actually, I've seen a lot of that recently on TikTok, which is odd. A lot of people posting like, oh, this is so spooky while they're like doing tours of the Queen Mary. Don't know what's up with that. St. Augustine, Florida, Shoshone Ice Caves, Idaho, Portland, Oregon, Stanley Hotel, and Estes Park, Colorado. Sorry, Shining. Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, Hollywood the Hotel Roosevelt, Los Angeles. Yeah, that one's up there. Washington, D.C., USS Lexington in Corpus Christi, Texas, San Francisco, the Biltmore State. Really? Asheville? Carolina, okay. Huh. Okay. And yeah, no, Salem, Massachusetts is not at the top of the list, but it's there. Okay. Antietam, San Antonio, Daniel K. Inouye International Airport, Honolulu. Huh. Not sure the Honolulu airport. So yeah, no, the Hotel Roosevelt is gorgeous, and I actually just watched Trixie Motel. The Trixie Motel season 2, I guess you could call it, where they go to buy a house and want to do like Hollywood Regency decorating, and so they go to the Hotel Roosevelt for inspiration for the Hollywood Regency thing, which is interesting because I don't know that I necessarily peg the Hotel Roosevelt as particularly Hollywood Regency in terms of its styling. It's a little more, I don't know, it's a little more neoclassical than I would give that. And then like the parts of the hotel that they were in specifically are a little bit more like Renaissance Italian, neo-Renaissance. Yeah, so they were talking like they were they were in whatever this room is. I don't know the hotel very well, so I can't say for sure, but like this was the room that they were in. And that is, oh, the lobby. It's the lobby. I don't know. Yeah. The Neo-Renaissance lobby. I wouldn't call that Hollywood Regency. Like, I don't know. Hollywood Regency is just such a weird thing to define and not necessarily something you see in public spaces very often. Like I'm even just searching Hollywood Regency here, and yeah, it's very much a style for the home, not necessarily for public consumption. So it doesn't come out very much in that way. But yeah. Ah, the before times. Yes, I know that.
How else could the fire have started?
Well.
Single living soul in the house when it started burning. Keyword living.
That would have been more impactful if she looked at us when she said living.
The light we see every day. It's the trees, the people, the birds. It's our world. You can even see it at night. The dark is the unknown. A plane of existence that vibrates just underneath the light. But if you were in a place like Salem, a place where a painful history permeates every surface, every crack, every brick, and every tomb, the dark will appear. Usually when you least expect it. That's why they say, don't be out past midnight in Salem, because the dark may reach out and take you. Also,
No one says that.
Salem has more ghost sightings than any other city in North America. If you want to learn why, you should go on my tour.
No one actually says that. And I've been out in Salem past midnight several times in my life, and I've been fine. Thank you very much. I mean, you gotta be worried about other people. I don't know, you gotta be worried about the dark reaching out and grabbing you or whatever the fuck she's talking about, so okay. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and call it here because it is now 11:04 and I need to be good about, I need to be good about getting to bed. I can say I have changed around my routine a little bit and I don't have to wake up quite as early as I used to, which is working pretty well for me so far. That being said, I still need to try and be good and, you know, go to sleep. So, that is the beginning of our stream here. You know, the beginning of this game. I know we didn't get through a lot of it. You know, that's just the way this game is going to be, especially for me. Because I live near here and I'm going to critique every part of it based on that knowledge that I have about Salem, Massachusetts itself, how Massachusetts is, you know, New England in general. I'm going to nitpick the whole thing. So, you know, this isn't a surprise to me that it took forever and it mostly was me, like, chatting about all of the weird things here in Salem. Kind of a deal, and, like, how things compare and why is this chosen for this, you know. At the end of the day, Hearn Interactive is a really small team. Even before they cut down their team, before this game, it was a really small team. And I've already skewered some parts of their I've already skewered some parts of their research process, I guess you could say. You know, where things weren't fully researched or were like researched on a surface level at best, and you get inaccuracies because of that. So this isn't terribly surprising. It still is really jarring to have some of these things happen. It is funny nonetheless. Again, I will forever not understand why there is a fucking map of Arlington in the Salem City Hall. Like, that doesn't make any fucking sense. Or Salem Courthouse. No goddamn sense. But anyway, that is the beginning of this game. We're going to be doing some more of this on Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern, same time here, same place, same channel. So I will definitely be looking forward to seeing you all back here for that. But until then, have a great night and a great couple of days, everybody. I will see you all on Thursday. Take care now. Bye-bye, everyone.